Hi, good evening, and welcome to the 15th episode of Wednesdays with Pathfinders. Today we have an esteemed guest here, and for the first time, we are also doing a face-to-face live with Sandhya Viswan, the name that does not need much of introduction in the field of education. She has been a homeschooler for her children herself and also has been a guide to a lot of families who are following this path of homeschooling. She has also created a lot of pathfinders herself in her entire journey. So today we are going to listen to the stories and also the challenges Sandhya has faced in this journey and how she has overcome these challenges and what lessons she has for all of us. Sandhya, welcome.
Thank you so much and good evening everyone.
And also happy Ram Navami to all those who are celebrating it. So Sandhya, the first question is, who is Sandhya for the audience?
So there are a lot of things that I do. However, I'd like to be known more as the educationist as well as the homeschooling mother. And my role is usually built on relationships. I build communities. I try to help as wherever possible when it comes to education. So this is where I generally work at, and this is what I like to be known as.
Very nice. It's actually very brief because Sandhya's story is not very small. There are a lot of things that I don't think today we'll be able to discuss on how she managed to come from Kuwait amid the war and all of those things. But we will try to keep the conversation limited to your educationist perspective. And one, she has always mentored a lot of people, and she mentors even today a lot of students and parents in this particular community. Like she said, she's also building a community. She's part of building many communities in this domain. So why don't you share with us a little bit about how your journey started off, let's say, as a graduate, and then why did you choose to move out of engineering, and why are you here today?
Okay, in education. So very interestingly, my journey has never been planned. Though I did my engineering or went into the tech line as far as education and qualifications go, I had actually been interested in psychology for a very long time. I had in fact joined psychology before I got through my entrance, and then I went into, because this was long back, and except my father, who was very strong in saying that I could take what I wanted to, the rest of the family, and in the 90s, you can very well imagine, okay, who throws away an engineering seat for psychology? So I went into psychology. I was good. I was fine with that, not an issue at all. However, after I worked, I did well there as well. I liked computer science. I got into electronics, but I went into computer science. I worked there, and once I returned back to India, I got married the same year. And we both were very clear when we had our children, or rather the older one, that one of us would be home with the child.
Right.
And naturally, I was much more interested in taking care of my child at that time, and I had a lot more free time. And I went back to my first love of psychology. Not very intentional, but I had my time. I was spending with my child. He went to school. I volunteered at the school. And from there, I thought I had more time, so I joined my psychology, BSc in psychology, and came back to this. At the same time was when Facebook, a lot was happening in social media. There were a lot of groups to help. Initially, I was part of groups that were helping mommies. So mothers, and the usual anonymous post of life. And so I would just share as and when whatever I knew. And similarly, I got into this group called Bangalore Schools. That is also around the time when we had decided, and we had started to homeschool.
Wow.
Okay, soon after that, a couple of years into it, when I was exploring. So I've always had this interest, psychology wise, to understand how learning happens, or how children behave, what they do. And this was just a natural thing. I had the freedom to do what I wanted, and I did it. And when I got into Bangalore Schools is when I started answering a lot more questions. I myself realized that I'm more interested in the educational journey more. So I was able to help so many parents in their choice of schools, or in their choice of education per se. So many of them wanted to homeschool. So homeschooling is not cut for everybody.
True.
Alternative schooling is very different. It's not like there's only one way to, alternative school. So all this research was happening as I was talking to other parents, people got very active in these groups. And I'm one of the admins of the Bangalore school groups now. From there, there's never been any bookish learning so far. It's mostly been, my bookish learning has been to get information of the various boards, various philosophies of learning, and see how this can be taken forward individually for different children. Not that there is no one size fits all. From there came a time when I had a personal loss and I was totally lost on what to do, is when my now business partner kind of pushed me. You've been in this area, you've been an educator. I've been an educator in mostly alternative or different kinds of schools and not typical conventional mainstream schools.
Right.
So I've had wherever I've had the opportunity, I've taken it up, and I've been able to homeschool and simultaneously work at the same time because it's in the education space also. I started a preschool because he pushed me there so that I don't go into depression, was where he pushed me, and we had an experiential space called Mud Pie, also open to homeschoolers at the time. We had various packages where we could just come and use the space or the resources, as well as my Mud Pie as a preschool space was working with individual children. I was able to create my own program, bringing in the different philosophies. I wouldn't even say good of, because it depended on the child, on what I wanted to. And in the meantime, I had also been Montessori trained when I had the free time to do that. So Mud Pie happened. And in the middle of this, around 2020, we had our first education expo. This is an area that I had never had any experience with, but from the Bangalore schools, which is now a 75,000 member group, and I think at the time it was 44,000. We decided, based on people's responses, we had a large education expo at Women's Convention Center. So my journey has been just opportunities that came my way or I've been pushed to, and I've just been able to do it. So nothing was planned so far, and today I have EdDeeD, which is a platform to connect all the stakeholders in the field of education, from schools to parents to service providers to job seekers, everybody. So schools or learning spaces, I don't want to call it schools, learning spaces can either be visible out to the community as well as higher from there. So I'm trying to help wherever possible. So this is my journey.
We will talk about EdDeeD a little more, because I'm sure that's something that the audience also would be benefited to know more about it. But listening to the journey, if the audience have to understand what is that Sandhya is made up of, because of which whatever opportunity came by, you were able to take it with a stride and then do it. So what do you think Sandhya has that makes her this person?
I think a lot of my life experiences from as a child has been influenced, not the life experiences per se, but the decisions, major things that have happened. My father's always been that rock. He's never advised me on what to do, but he's put his perspective, told me, then you take your call. I'm there to support you as long as you know what you're doing. And he always put a different perspective of what could be the worst case scenario. How will you handle that? This is it. So multiple experiences and these conversations, I think, brought me to a space, and I will have to admit a little bit of privilege there, because I know I have a safety net. I'm not bound by any rules that I can do this or I cannot do this. So I was able to take any opportunities that came my way, and I wanted to give that not only to my children, but also make other parents aware that this is probably what you should, the intent is there.
True.
but they don't know how to because they are fearful of failure.
Correct.
I don't even want to use the term failure. I now call it life experiences.
Right.
Because the moment you say failure, in your mind, failing,
Correct.
winning, or achieving, all that comes as two different things. So
it's a black and white.
Yes,
It's not
which is not what it is. Anything, you at least learn that this is not cut off for me. At least that is a learning. If you call it that, you start thinking of it from that way. So I think that to be able to, and honestly also my homeschooling journey after I started in a couple of years is when I was able to let go. The moment I let go, I realized my children are learning a lot more.
Mm.
You know, I don't have to be the one planning. I don't have to be the person knowing that this is the way my older son learns, this is the way my younger son learns, and from there, take things forward. Then I'm just replicating a school setup or a parent setup in a different way, helping them to explore. So the moment I stepped back from this and started being my own person, I realized that's the essence of my homeschooling journey.
Wow. That was quite touchy because, see, one, of course, we all have our inspirations, and if the inspiration comes directly from the family, then it's a different story altogether for all of us. So, in this journey, who else, other than your family members, have been, supporting you, and what kind of challenges were there? Because you said you were also privileged, but that's probably an overstatement. Because no matter how privileged you are, the journey has its toll.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So
directly one person who has been very, very supportive is my business partner, Manoj Tirakat, for sure. However, I also have derived a lot of inspiration from many other school heads, homeschooling families, the ones who've done it prior to mine, or even at the same time. We've had lots of conversations. Teachers who are probably not teaching anymore, parents. So these conversations I've had with that's where the community angle has been very important for me, not as building a community or a business aspect, but the sharing of perspectives and thoughts, not even knowledge, because that is now available at a click of a button.
True.
So, but sharing their perspectives was enough for me. So this inspiration in many ways, different philosophies. I don't believe one philosophy will fit all. However, learning those philosophies has given me enough food for thought to be able to, put something together. That's an interest area for me. Research in that area, as well as how do you apply it or put it together. So that creative part is definitely mine, I would say, but I know what to pull and put together for a particular child. So if I had to name, there are a lot of names in this field, including Indra of Abheek, but one person who's directly supporting, like I said, is because, and that is why we are in this education space in a business together.
Wonderful. So that brings me to the next question, which is if you can elaborate a little in terms of what made you start EdDeeD.
EdDeeD.
Okay. How is that going to, how is it looking in the next 2-3 years? What does it do for all of us?
So EdDeeD was a natural transition from Bangalore Schools Group to the EduWeave Expo, and then EdDeeD was a natural transition. So unlike other startups where they build the product and then they start building the traction or the community, our community was already there. Right. The Facebook group has grown very large now, around 75,000 members. So the earlier connect that we had personally with each one was a little challenging at this stage, and we realized that to organize the information that is there, it's a lot of information on Bangalore schools regarding alternative schooling, homeschooling, regular schools, different boards, everything is out there. However, to find it sifted, because it's a large group, it was getting difficult. So the transition to EdDeeD. Now, EdDeeD phase 1 is a search and discovery platform. It's a search and discovery platform to find schools, learning spaces, tuitions, activity centers, and also jobs in the education space. Right now, it is only for schools, not for service providers, but we have phase 2, 3, all of it planned, where all the stakeholders, anything related to K-12 education now and probably college education also later, want to be the one-stop solution there.
Right.
Everybody who can, so that the visibility is easier for them, because many parents are not aware of what is available, be it schools, be it activities. There are so many things happening in India. I myself am getting to know a lot more when I'm exploring for my child. So if we can be that, if we can provide the answers which are already there, we want to be able to put all of that up there, and this is where EdDeeD is heading to. Right now the search and discovery platform is ready, and we will be soon marketing and pitching and trying to get the parents on board as soon as we get the schools and service providers on board. So anybody that you know who's interested can please come on EdDeeD. It's very easy also, 5 minutes, do it yourself platform. So that's
so now that we have spoken about tech, I have a spin-off question for you.
Okay.
How do you see the impact of AI on learning today?
Okay.
Because you're an educationist, I wanted to have this conversation.
So everything I've seen, this either a stay back and people rejecting it immediately,
correct,
or thinking it is the next thing in education.
Yeah.
Okay, so I personally would look at a balanced approach. AI would be good if it is used appropriately to enhance in education. It can be used as a tool. It cannot be replacing a human mentor. That is some. If it is a teacher that you are looking for, a typical teacher, maybe AI can also replicate that. However, for a true educator, I would, because that human touch of when to nudge. See, a good coach. I'll just put that as an example. I would think as a sports person, as a parent of a sports person, a good coach is somebody who knows which player needs to be pushed to be able to perform, and which player he or she will have to, step back and give that freedom to be able to. Because not all players or all athletes work well under that kind of pressure. Some of them work only under pressure. Now that part, I don't think an AI or a machine would be able to gauge so easily as a human. Just like a parents, parents who are very observant. So that parents' observation is very different. I speak to a lot of parents when I'm doing my consultations. So some of them are observant, some of them are not. So, and that reflects on the child and that child's journey. So directly to your question, AI, if used properly, yes, a great tool. But depending totally on AI, not. I don't think that is the wise approach.
That's fantastic. I think we also had a good insight in terms of, because a lot of parents believe that it's there, it's part of the child's life, so we don't know what to do with it, because phone addiction is very big, and AI is also penetrating into every aspect of our life.
See, those are things that we might not be able to cut off. So this is right now AI. Few years now, just before the advent of AI, it was gadgets. Okay, our times it was the telephone and the television. Before that, my father used to say it was the radio. Okay, so at every time technology comes into the picture. Television is not bad if you use it properly, if you watch the right program. Mindlessly watching it is a problem. Gadgets, when we come to directly that question, 0 to 6 years, using that as a babysitter is definitely not, because they're developmental wise, neurologically, all of that is affected negatively. There is no interaction. At that age, communication is two-way. You cannot. So now there's another term, if you are aware, virtual autism, which is not autism, but it is because of this, and
Technology.
because parents are giving that to them. I am not a person who would say zero gadgets, because that is around us. You cannot,
Child is
you are
anyway going to pick
yes, is going to pick it because it is around
there.
them. And unless you are going to live in a community, which is also possible, which does not have any gadgets, and the lifestyle is very different, similar to what is in the earlier years. If that is your lifestyle, great. Then no gadgets at all, and it is fine. But if you are living in a city, urban setting, they are going to be exposed to the gadget.
True.
I am not somebody who is going to take that away just because this is not good. How do you moderate it? How can you use it? Let's say half an hour with a very young child, half an hour you're sitting together with the child, and then you have a conversation about it. What color did you? I mean, just simple things
Sure,
are there.
sure,
What
definitely.
color do you like? What do you think? What if this character had not done that? What do you think?
I'm
would have
sure you
happened?
would charge for this counseling to the parents. They're anyway getting all the
that
gadgets.
was
Right.
really- yeah.
So it's good.
Yeah. So that part, how do you use it? Is if you use it as a tool, online education. So I don't believe in online education because you do 0 to 6 for sure.
Right.
But for 10 years and above, if a child works better that way, and you can have classes for this session, and you're not mindlessly spending it on gaming, also can be good.
True.
Minecraft can be a source of learning for many children. My younger son had educated me on that. So that part is what is important, to balance it out, use it as a technology asset or a supplement rather than use that as the main tool for education.
Definitely. I'm sure there are a lot of questions the parents would have asked you. So I have a couple of questions I wanted to ask when I wanted to have you here on the show. The one thing is, when it comes to homeschooling, there are a lot of challenges parents have faced, and you also have done homeschooling with your children. Right? So what kind of challenges did you face at a personal level, at a family level, right? And what was your strategy to work with that?
So personally for me, again, like I said, I come from a family like that. Challenge, of course, concern was there, was definitely there, especially since my older son was doing well in school. We started homeschool so that he could spend more time in his music. But we both, my husband and I, are also known to be very, independent people who make our own choices, and we will stick to it. We did not depend on the family to support us in the homeschooling journey. Though my family has supported at a time, a couple of years into the journey, it's always, we've never taken that for granted. So we've taken the decision, we will take that part.
Right. That was not part of your plan. It came in, but it was.
It was only for our family. That was our plan, but not for the rest of the extended family.
Right.
And so we did not depend on them totally. We depended on them just like we would take any other decision and asked for help when it was required, which was very happily supported by them, and we knew where they could support and where they could not. For example, when my older son at age 12 had to go to Ghana, which is where my father was at, my parents were at that time, I obviously could not expect them to support him in the academic part. But he did get a lot of opportunities to look at the administrative part in an office and help out there. So that was learning as far as I was concerned. He could pursue his creative pursuits then, because that did not read anybody else. So that way they have supported. But the challenge is also, even when parents speak to me, when you take up a decision to homeschool, it should be a very conscious decision. I discourage parents who come into homeschooling just because they're not happy with one system of education. And they're coming with sitting on the fence, very unsure about themselves. So that you cannot take. For us, we were very clear, whatever path this takes, we will face it. So that is the next thing. Unless you are very sure about that part, and the parents have to take that call. If they are not very sure that we will take care of, we will handle, then don't go this way. Maybe find another school that will be able to support you. but not this part. So challenges for me, like I said, have always been learning experiences. We figure out what to do. And now, in retrospect, we started homeschooling in 2009 with none of so much of these thoughts. But over my journey, I can tell you one thing is a lot of life experiences my children have been able to handle. Big things where people would crumble. I was just talking to somebody yesterday and today over the same thing. We've been able to overcome many of that very quickly in just a couple of years, only because of the skill sets we had built up during our homeschooling journey. So, for us, academics was the last thing on our minds when we went into homeschooling. That's just a hurdle that has to be crossed, and we looked at it only when the children were around 12 to 13 years old. Till then, that was not our main focus, unless the child himself wanted to and went across. So, I don't know. Now, if I look back and say I don't call it challenges, and I think that shift in thinking has helped us to overcome many an obstacle.
So basically, homeschool unschooled you guys.
Yeah, both were there. Yeah, we unschooled. It's a very fine line.
True.
I don't want to put a label, but unfortunately, that is how people understand it. We've done both.
True. Also, I think for the parents who are right now sitting on the fence, right, it's a good message to make the choice and then walk the path, because either way, sitting there is only sitting on the fence, so it is painful.
Right, and it's like any other decision that you take, buying a home, changing a job. It can go either way, this way, that way. So what I consider as a positive in homeschooling might not even be a positive for somebody else. I might think the choice of getting up at any time for a child is a good choice. Another family which needs discipline might not think so. Right? So that is one beauty of homeschooling, that you can customize it based on whatever fits your family, not even your child, your family. I believe, and I have raised my children also to understand that we all are part of a unit. I am not responsible for them. I am responsible to build up skills in them so that they can lead their life and take their decisions alone. That is my responsibility to one age. But I am also a human in that unit that we call family. I should also be respected. If I need a sort of discipline, my children need to understand that that is my need. How can you help in that? You might need something else, but how do we work around it? So these are the things in not only my family, the many other families that I have seen over the years. This is the base thread that runs through it, and academics is like a...
Because that's the biggest challenge. I'm sure as a homeschooler, a lot of people would have asked you, now what about academics? Because I have this thing, homeschooling is not taking the school back home.
Absolutely.
Right? So this is something that...
And I would totally advise against it, because that is what happens. Because this is a question that comes to me. Because they come into, and I call that lockdown homeschooling actually, because that's when the numbers increased on how do I homeschool? Where is the curriculum? Where is the syllabus? I literally had nothing till they were 12 or 13. My older son, because he was interested, he did it on his own. That was a different thing. But I've never sat down and looked at a curriculum and what exam is required till they were around 12, 13 years of age. Then one baseline that I tell people is reading, writing, comprehension and basic arithmetic. By the age of 11, 12, if they have enough sufficient proficiency in that, you can prepare for any exam after this. You don't need to, and you don't need to say Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm going to teach this or that. But if you can weave everything along with whatever you are doing, it's possible. But if you're looking at homeschooling from only the academic point of view, these are people I discourage, because end of the day, very soon the pressure will build up on the child. Versus in a school or an educational setup where there are still some more, even if it is only 10 students, that is divided. So there's no pressure. While at home, it ends up. But that word homeschool, maybe we need another. Our Telegram group is known as Home Educators for that reason, because that homeschool brings an image of
Correct.
sitting at a table with a child and
And
adult is
teaching.
teaching,
Correct.
which is not the case for many of us, I would say, successful homeschooling families.
Very nice. I think that message is something that I was looking for today, because it's very important for all of us to understand that homeschooling is not about taking the textbook back home and sitting with the child and making them complete the task, which is like doing a homework that you could as well do with the child being in a school. Number one, and you could choose a school where there's not much of academic pressure, which you could take back home and sit with the satisfaction that you're trying to do. So coming to the next part of it, now one part is the homeschool, the other one is we also looked at your EdDeeD, where you have shared so much with us. Now, if people have to collaborate with Sandhya
On EdDeeD?
on anything for that matter,
Oh.
what are the things Sandhya would be happy to mentor people on?
Okay, so I do education consultations for parents on their educational journey. I don't do school admissions, but
I think that should be louder. They don't do school admissions.
I don't do school admissions,
Right.
but I do give some names based on personal experience and how to look for the kind of school. So I
True.
help parents in forming a decision
Correct.
on what kind of educational path is the right one for them, for their family,
Right.
and maybe older children, what kind of board would be suitable based on many factors,
Correct.
on what your future plans are and what your
True.
child's interests are. So what kind of board would be good? If you are choosing a school or an alternative space, based on your family, what do you look for? What questions you need to be asking
True.
to be able to make that decision. So these are the things that I help for in a consultation. Homeschooling. How do you homeschool? How do you homeschool? Because I need to first understand what your family
True.
is and what you're looking for. Based on that, I give you ideas on what to do. And again, the educational, the board part, and when you need to be looking at it and when you need to start preparing. This is my education consultancy that I work with. Coming to EdDeeD, EdDeeD schools, learning spaces can onboard on EdDeeD. Very easy to do. Log in and
So
sign up.
what's the benefit for them to be on it?
Okay, so one is visibility for admissions.
Right.
Two,
So you don't do admissions, but you provide.
we provide a platform. It is like more like an Amazon that you can come
Correct.
and choose relevant parameters, filter,
Right.
and you get the list of schools that provide what you are looking for instead of looking all over the place and filtering out only this. Okay, I want CBSE in Whitefield and then with horse riding. But you might find a CBSE school in Bannerghatta Road with horse riding. So then that needs to be. So if you get your location and everything, you get this. So that makes it slightly easier to filter out. But then it is the next step. Many parents don't need a consultation like mine. They are very aware of these are what I need. So this grade, this. So for schools, visibility to the right kind of parents to get admissions, as well as hiring. So we have a jobs piece where job seekers can come and onboard. Again, a lot of alternative spaces and even mainstream schools are hiring people from the industry who are just stepping into education because they want that their experience is actually helpful in spaces such as these, which want mentors for their students rather than teachers. So we are trying to club that also and give this platform for schools.
So you mean to say, when you say people from the industry, that's
corporate
someone who's
background.
not an educationist.
Not an educationist, but want to step into education.
Right.
And these schools do not look for a BEd degree. They need different skill sets, and
Correct.
that is a requirement. And it's not just alternative spaces, by the way.
True.
IB schools, CBSE schools for primary, CBSE schools, some even high school, they have different requirements, but there is a possibility even there to be able to get based on what your background is. So all this is possible. We also realize many schools are now looking for graphic designers.
Right.
So these are not regularly, so it's not just teachers, we want to address that as well. Going forward, everybody can be on the platform. Second, service providers. Service providers in the education space for children. Okay, as of now it is K-12, coding classes, music classes, even experiences, outdoor experiences. Many people are offering a lot of these things. So that visibility, events that you all might have, workshops, camps, all these. Anybody in the education space looking for children visibility to parents of children of the age group 0 to maybe 18 now can collaborate with EdDeeD.
But you're looking at doing something more than 18 years also in the future?
Yes, definitely. We want to be the one-stop solution in the education space.
Definitely.
We've been doing that and we've been helping anyways, but we want to help the larger public, and it's not only Bangalore alone. We want to go worldwide, pan India, and then worldwide.
That's the power of being digital.
Exactly. We want to be able to help. We don't believe we are the answer to everything.
Correct.
We know so many people are working in this field. How can we collaborate to bring it to the parents who require? This is what we are looking at, and going forward, even answers on which exams are coming up, what is the criteria, when are the dates, so many things. So now everybody thinks of IIT, JEE, NEET, and that's about it. And then the state.
That's there in the newspaper.
Yeah. Many don't know about ISER. Many do not know about different courses that some IITs are offering, or even some courses that colleges, universities, or schools are offering, because they don't have the money to probably market.
True.
But if they can put that out there, we already have the community, so the visibility wise we want to grow and help all stakeholders in this.
Fantastic. I think in summary, EdDeeD is going to become a platform where everybody connected to learning, to everybody providing learning solutions are going to be on one platform, and that's going to be a global phenomena. Definitely. We wish you all the very best for that. But also for all the audience, just to recap whatever Sandhya just mentioned about EdDeeD. Schools, learning spaces, they don't call it schools actually, any learning space for that matter, any educator, anybody interested in education, okay, and anyone who is providing services to education, can be your science labs, can be your activities, you can create learning experiences, your farming activities that you want to do. I think you could always host it on EdDeeD for people to connect to you. Schools could connect to you, you could connect to schools on EdDeeD.
That is in the next phase.
That's in the next phase. Amazing there. And also I think once the parents are on board EdDeeD, they will definitely benefit from all the information that you're going to do. I just have one question which I'm sure the audience might also have. Do you do any kind of screening for the schools who are coming on board, or they give you all the parameters? You have some parameters that they give us?
Yes, they can come on board and put all their parameters. We don't do any screening as of now. We don't want to filter that also. That is not our job. Parents will be doing the due diligence any which ways, because they will still need to check whether what they have said here is that has to be done. Because I will never be able to say the essence of a school. They can always say we have teachers who are experienced and all that, but that is for them to see. And
we know that.
Yeah. So we want the schools, and that information only the schools can give at this point of time, based on class strength and what activities they provide. Some of it is on their website, but not everything is on their website. So if we can have this here, so we don't vet anything right now, but we are also working on onboarding some schools that we know of, and then the schools can come and claim them and see how it goes.
Fantastic. So that's the next step, because I'm hosting this particular program under Abheek Lifeversity. Right? Therefore, we will be eager that EdDeeD opens up for 15 years and above, all the way for people to come and get to have an experience of learning. Because Lifeversity is something that we've just started a couple of years ago for all the audience who are new, who are listening to us. And Lifeversity aims at providing skills for children, mentoring for them, for a livelihood. Right? So it's a lot of details we'll share on the website. And the next question for you, because now that your children, one of them has come to 12th, or the elder one is finished?
Elder one is 23
Elder one
years
is
old.
23 years old. And the best part, I was listening to Sandhya about how the elder one has taken his whole control of his life and is a travel freak, travels on his own, does not depend on the parents for anything. I think that's the essence of education that we all want.
It's been 4 years, I can actually proudly say, and that is where he's also coming from, that he has not taken a single rupee from me for the last 4 years, even when he was studying, because he got his income from somewhere. So
Right.
it's not about how much he's getting.
Correct.
For him as an individual, he is more
Sustain.
about I am earning, I will take care of my own needs. And I'm sure in another 20 years when he has his own family, he'll say, I'm a self-made person. Of course, we build up that skills, but he might forget that, but that's okay. I think every parent...
I don't think they'll forget that.
No, I
I'm
don't
sure
think any parent wants to be given credit for that, because that's our responsibility.
Yeah.
And I am more than happy if he says that he is a self-made person, because I know, just like he thinks he is content with what he's earning and he's built it on his own merit, which is true. I have also done that, because that was the role that I chose, to be a parent, to give him that platform.
So I'm sure a lot of parents who are watching this and who will also watch this interview in the future will be able to connect to that situation where a lot of effort, especially when it comes to the right way of homeschooling, where the children are developed and they are empowered, not just in terms of completing the syllabus and not just completing your academic curriculum, making them strong, making them...
Even in that, on that note, the younger one, he's into sports and he's unschooled. I've never sat with him and taught him anything. The first ever exam that he's written in his life was the 10th grade secondary NIOS exam.
Wow.
He refused my help. I told him 2 years back to start maybe preparing.
Prepare,
Thinking,
correct.
can I just tell you how an exam is, because you don't know. He refused my help. And today there's a lot of other avenues, right? So he went on YouTube, he asked his friends who've written CBSE exam. He did it totally on his own.
Wow.
And he's scored a 77%, which for me is equivalent to the 90 something plus that my older son had, because he was academically oriented, focused all the time. Unlike that, if a child like that is able to do it, that means he's
True.
built up on the skill sets. He's never had to sit and study. And now when he's doing his senior secondary, he's now more aware of what an exam is.
True.
And he also is aware that this is much more important than that
Chanda.
10th grade, which is for my next year. So he's, though unlike my older one, he's not really focused on what is my next goal. But I see those changes now with the conversations we are having with different people. So each child is also different.
True.
But it's doable for everybody.
Definitely.
But the mindset, the willingness to see how that path goes and be ready for whatever turns it's going to take. This is a parent question that comes to me.
Right.
I don't want to make a mistake. I don't want to ruin my child's life. Please don't think that. Because a step or a decision you've taken now might not be right later. You just need to adapt. You tell your child failure is a stepping stone for success, but you are not ready for that failure yourself. How will you show that? How, if it fails, what is the next step you take is what is going to show your child a real life. You walk the talk there.
Correct.
So that you need to be prepared for. You've taken this decision, it might go. Be prepared for anything. Just like life, that is a life decision. Homeschooling is a life decision that you would take.
I think I will also recall what she said during the interaction, that it's not a failure. It's a life experience that
It's a
you are
learning
going
experience.
to. Yeah, it's a learning experience. You took a decision, it worked the way you had thought, or you took a decision, it didn't work the way you have thought. That's the only thing, rather than looking at it from I failed. Right? I think it's a wonderful life lesson for all the parents to also understand that if you can change your perspective about success and failures, right, it will definitely help the children in this journey to understand that, okay, I can go ahead and try.
Absolutely.
I can make a lot.
Exactly.
So Sandhya, we are just 2 minutes from here. I would want to ask you if there is any message you want to give our audience today, right? From your experience, let's say as an educationist, as a homeschooler, as a parent, or as Sandhya, what would it be for us?
It's all the same thing that I have been telling so far. It is about, I've realized also, understand yourself first. Only then can you understand your child. So that observation, many of us, the moment we turn into parents, we think that is our main responsibility and then put all the attention on the child. So I think first we need to see ourselves as individuals. We will be able to appreciate our children as individuals only then. And then your decision can be anything based on that.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. And I know you are on a very tight and busy schedule. And thank you for spending the whole evening with us today. Right? And we will definitely look forward for many more mentoring sessions as and when. And I'm sure our audience will have a lot of questions to reach you. Okay, so we will share the details in the comment section on how you can reach Sandhya. And I'm sure it's pretty much simple. Bangalore Schools is where you will find Sandhya directly. She is one of the admins. And also in terms of her educational prowess, she is definitely available to all of you in terms of reaching out and clarifying your doubts in terms of how to go forward, what are the next steps. And it's also interesting to see that she is available in Bangalore for all the people who are in Bangalore. And Bangalore is also becoming a hub for independent learning and open learning.
Compared to the rest of the country, Bangalore is a place that started out with a lot of options that are available.
Right.
Various kinds, from mainstream different kinds, no pressure, to alternative different kinds of spaces, and a lot of new things that are happening. Bangalore has definitely been the hub compared to the rest of India itself.
And we have the chief educationist here with us in Bangalore, so which means it's also the icing on the cake for all of us to benefit from the people around us. The most important thing is to, like what Sandhya said, don't sit on the wall for a long time. It's also important that you take a decision, move forward, and the community is here to help. I am sure as Abheek, we also rely a lot on Sandhya's inputs when it comes to certain programs that we do or our reach out to people. We have a community with which we collaborate and we work with, and I invite all of you to also be part of this community and make use of the facilities that you have and all the people around here who are willing to help you in whatever best ways we can. So thank you very much. Today has been wonderful because this has been a slightly different approach to the Wednesdays with Pathfinders. We are trying to do face-to-face live for the first time, and that's being the 15th episode, so almost 15 weeks into it, and we are very happy that you could make your time and be with us here. So on behalf of the entire team, Abheek Lifeversity, I thank Sandhya for being here, and also all of you, please take care. And there's a lot of heat coming through, there's a lot of heat wave. Please drink a lot of water, keep yourself healthy. Bangalore is gonna cool down, let's have that hope in a couple of weeks, but still then please take care of your health. I love you all.